Once you've written all of the code for your virtual tug-of-war circuit and you've tested it and you've made sure that it's working, it's time to go ahead and port this code over to the actual circuit board that you soldered together. That'll allow you to have something that you can put in your pocket and take with you wherever you go and play with your friends. To do that, we're going to have to change some of the pin assignments up here. Now, these first four of the first 5 lines of code up here deal with pin assignments. This line of code doesn't. So I'm actually going to move that right now by hitting Control X. And down here, I'm going to hit Control V. On a Mac, that would be Command X and Command V. And then I'm just going to get rid of that empty line. Now I have 4 lines of code that define which pins all of the hardware on our circuit board is connected to. Now I could just change these so that it matches our circuit board instead of our virtual circuit, but the problem with that would be I wouldn't be able to come back and tinker with this circuit anymore. The code would now only work with the actual hardware version of our project. To make it so that it's easy to switch between the two so that you can come back to here and tinker with this some more, I'm going to use what's called a comment. Specifically, I'm going to use what's called a multi-line comment by putting a slash and a star at the beginning of this, and then a star and a slash at the end. This code has now been commented out. What that means is the compiler, the piece of software that turns a program into ones and zeros so that it can run on our ATtiny84 or in this virtual environment, that program that does the converting of what we see here into ones and zeros is going to ignore this comment. The comment is just for humans to read so that you can one programmer can either communicate to another programmer, or it's a reminder, or in this case, we're just saving some information. I'm going to go ahead and put right at the top of this virtual circuit. And then down below, I'm going to put hardware. And then I'm going to copy these lines right here. I'm going to paste them right down here. Okay, the first step is to look at the green LED. If we look at our actual hardware, I see that the green LED is attached to pin 8. So I'm going to switch this 6 to an 8. Next, I see the red LEDs towards the bottom are attached to pin 10. So that matches a program, the virtual circuit version. Then 9, that also matches. But then here we get to the third LED. Well, that's attached to pin 1, so I've got to switch that. And then pin 2, so that one needs to change. And then pin 7. And then pin 6. And then the left player here, if we look right over here, the button for the left player right there is attached to pin 0. So I'm going to switch this to a 0. And then over here, the right player button is attached to pin 5. So I'll switch that to a 5. Now I have code that will work with the hardware version of our circuit. So the next step is to download it to my computer. There's a download button right here. Before you download it, you want to make sure that there are no spaces in the name of your program. If there are, you'll have trouble opening it after you download it. So I click download, and then I can actually view this in the folder, and if I double click on it, it'll open up the Arduino IDE, the Arduino program that allows me to write programs for Arduinos. You'll get an error message if we read it closely, it says the file Tug-o-War 1 INO needs to be inside a sketch folder with the same name. Create this folder, move the file, and continue. So what this means is Arduino likes to see files in folders with the same name. Right now, this is just a file all by itself. So we're going to click OK, and then you will see, if we look back, that the Arduino IDE actually put that file inside this folder, a folder with the same name. Okay, so here is our code, the exact same code that we had on Tinkercad. Before we try to load the code to the ATtiny84, I just want to show you that right now, the code that is on this chip is just a simple blink program. And it just makes the green LED blink. That's all it does. So I'm going to turn it off now, and then I'm going to use my integrated circuit extractor to grab that chip. So I'm going to make sure that it's grabbing it right in the middle there. If you look, so it's a little hard to see, but just make sure that you're grabbing it right in the middle of that chip. And then just pull. Just like that. And then I'm going to put it into my ATtiny programmer here, into the ATtiny84 slot, and just push it in there. And then I need to plug my programmer into my computer. So plug it in right here, and I'm going to plug it in right over here. Next, I need to click on Tools, and if it's not already set up correctly, you need to make sure that the board is set to the ATtiny84 option. Then you need to make sure that your port is set correctly, which I know that mine is, and you need to make sure it's set as Arduino as ISP. Once you've made sure that those three things are set correctly, you can click the load button, the upload button. Down here, you'll see that it's saying compiling sketch. And if everything works correctly, you should see done uploading, and this part should be blue. If it's orange, then something went wrong and you need to figure out what went wrong and fix it in order to get this to work. So now that that is done, we can unplug the programmer. We can extract the ATtiny84 chip here. And if I look closely, I see that everything's lined up correctly. So I'm going to go ahead now, just press down gently and try turning it on. And I see that, oh, I can press it now. Oh, and the score went towards the right player, and the score went towards the left player. All right, so everything is working as intended. To go back and switch this so that you can tinker with it in Tinkercad, what you would do is comment out the hardware section by making the first part right here a multi-line comment, and then turning this last part into the closing part of a multi-line comment here. So this is now commented out. And then you would delete this part right here, the closing part of the multi-line comment for the virtual circuit portion. And then we would turn this first part that was a multi-line, the beginning of a multi-line comment, into just a single line comment. And now you can go ahead and tinker with this code some more.